Black people, don't be afraid to show your support to Donald Trump, okay? Don't be scared. They're gonna call you a coon, they'll call you a bunch of names, but who cares? I've lost some friends, but were they really your friends if they can't respect you to think for yourself? They're not. So, any well informed voter is not voting for Kamala Harris. I think it's time that we get off the plantation. Black people are conservatives by nature. They have ruined this country. They have ruined the black families. They're ruining our children. I think they're a worshiper of the devil because.
Hold on. She cooks so much. We might have to rewind it back. You know what we do on this platform. Because I got to get the full context. And I always like to give credit to the content creators. So I'm definitely going to be linking back to in the description to her platform, whether or not I agree with people or not. And make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We had the Patreon meetup. It was absolutely lit. And then on top of that, make sure you get Tej Hanley 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. But she's cooking, and she's absolutely cooking. I can't tell you how disrespectful people have been to me as a result of my position of saying that I am not going to vote for this woman because if you go to her website, she don't even have no policy that she stand on when it comes to how she's going to govern the United States of America. I'm not voting for somebody based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm not voting off somebody based off of identity politics that don't even identify as y'all. And I'm not even a blackity black. You know what I'm saying? And the worst part about it is that, and I was having this conversation on the Millionaire Morning Show this morning. I remember when y'all were setting the standards for had to be like 5 years ago, setting the standards on what you thought the standard for what being pro-black meant in the black community. And y'all said that you actually had to be married to a black person, which I don't agree with. I think that you should go where you celebrate it and not where you tolerate it. However, people don't even have standards within their own communities. And when you start to dig into the archives and you start to look at her track record and what she participated in and how many people she locked up and what evidence is being withheld from and all of that stuff, I don't even have to make a case against her. Because when you ask somebody why they're voting for somebody, either it's identity politics, but in Biden's case, when he was on the hook, they were saying that they were voting for Biden based off of the fact that they didn't like Trump. But when you start to look at the track record of what happened in 2016 through 2020 versus 2020 through 2024, or 2021 through 2024 and a half, it's a completely different conversation. And that's a fact. It's an absolute fact. But let me rewind the tape because she got a lot that she went through, and I want to get the full context. Again, make sure I hit a like for the algorithm. Let's get it.
Black people, don't be afraid to show your support to Donald Trump, okay? Don't be scared. They're gonna call you a coon, they'll call you a bunch of names, but who cares? I've lost some friends, but were they really your friends if they can't respect you to think for yourself? They're not. So, any well-informed voter is not voting for Kamala Harris. I think it's time that we get off the plantation. Black people are conservatives by nature. They have ruined this country. They have ruined the black families. They're ruining our children. I think they're a worshiper of the devil because to tell kids that they can transition as early as age 7 and 8 is very concerning. This is not about race. This is not about gender. This is about what's right for this country. And that's Donald Trump. Look at how Kamala Harris kicked off her campaign by going to a drag race show. Are you serious? The two most concerning issues in America right now are border crisis and our economy. You know, now they're saying she was never the border czar. So what was she? I guess now they're going to say she was never the VP also. I guess they're having whiplash.
She cooking.
I don't know what's going on. They're just a bunch of liars. Like I said, any well-informed voter is not voting for her. So black people, I know a lot of black people who support Donald Trump are afraid to speak up, okay?
I want to address some of the things that she said, right? The first thing that she said was about the name calling. And again, I said this and I'm going to say it again. I think that the least tolerant people are usually the ones that's on the left. The least tolerant people are the ones that's on the left. I could disagree with you, but that don't mean that I lack a respect for you. I still want you to win. I still want you to get money. I still want you to be a productive citizen. I don't want you to go to jail. I could absolutely I disagree with people all the time. I disagree with people that's in my own family. I don't agree 100% with anything that anybody says or that I can think of, except for myself. But the reality is that they are the least tolerant of any demographic of people, the left, and they will bully you and they will think that they're doing something. And so when you start to stand up for everybody by standing up for yourself, they then start calling you out of your name. They then start disrespecting you. They will go after your people. They will go after your spouses. They have no limits. And so it's so funny how people that are looking for inclusion is so intolerant of people that disagree with them. On top of that, we are traditionally conservative. We have always been conservative. And even if you look at your family values, how we became so liberal and how we started tolerating people doing things that's not even in the best interest of our family. But then we want to put the genie back in the bottle and say, well, wait a minute, we shouldn't have men and women's sports, or we shouldn't have alphabet community agenda inside of our books and stuff like that. Y'all forgot about that? Let's continue to go into identity politics, voting for somebody just based off of the fact that they black. Haven't y'all learned from that? Forget the national election. We could just use, again, the local election. London Breed over there in San Francisco. People all across the country is literally reeling from the fact that they have these cities that are ran by people that are unqualified to be in these positions, that don't have your best interests at heart. And then all of a sudden you try to find your way out of these cities and you want to move somewhere else, where I think that you should stay where you voted. I 100% advocate for people to stay exactly where they are, because if your city is going down in ruins, it's a strong possibility that you are the culprit and you are the architect of it by voting into somebody, or not voting at all, somebody, or supporting somebody in office that's creating the laws and the legislation that's not in y'all best interest. And then again, she said the first thing that she did, and one of the things that she did, was she mobilized sororities and fraternities. She didn't stand on policy. She don't have nothing on her website. Even Andrew Yang, and I supported Andrew Yang as a Democrat for president. I absolutely disagreed with his socialist agenda and making sure that he give a check to everybody. However, his understanding of policy and his understanding of what was coming from a technological perspective and how that was going to affect our lives financially was spot on. It was absolutely spot on. And instead of her standing on policy, what she did was mobilize people based off of alliances and identity. And then she started to go on RuPaul's drag show in order to say, hey, listen, we're this, and we absolutely, come on, man, that ain't even what you stand on. You don't even like that. You disagree. You go off on people that think like that operate like that on a regular basis. I just had a dude on a platform yesterday in which I never disrespected him, because we weren't having a conversation that was disrespectful. I disagreed with some of the things that he was saying. I agreed with more of what he was saying from a political perspective. But the reality is that I seen the chat and people were going crazy. And some of the very people that was going crazy on him were some of the same people that were saying that they support Kamala Harris. But she can go on RuPaul's drag show and advocate. She also talked about the border czar. Ditto. We already know that her as the border czar has failed dramatically. And then last but not least, becoming an informed voter. I don't even tell people how they should vote. I tell people how I'm voting, why I'm voting the way that I'm voting, and then also that you need to become more informed about how it is that you're voting. And I believe that if you become more educated and you pay attention to the policies, you pay attention to what's happened over the last 8 years or so, it's impossible for you to vote based off of identity, knowing that it's not the best thing for you. Acting like this woman know you. She don't know you. She don't even care nothing about you. I'm curious as to what you guys think. I think that this woman cooked. Make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also on top of that, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then we rocking, man. Millionaire Morning Show. Subscribe to the channel. We got after hours tonight. Can't wait to read y'all comments. It's crazy.